Bum, bum, bum. Oh my gosh. Listen to that. What is up, everybody? Today, I'm bringing you guys an unboxing of the brand new Godzilla 70th edition Digimon Color Digivice. I've actually been waiting to get this thing in the mail for quite some time. We're going to be unboxing the black one, but there is also a white classic version. I just want to say before we get into this, these devices are going to be in Japanese, and both of these devices have the exact same hardware. So the same Digimon and Godzillamons are going to be available on the black one and the white one. And with that out of the way, let's get right into this and talk a little bit about this device. Now, I know a lot of people have already done unboxings for this device already. I think a lot of people also unboxed the black one, but at the same time, none of those people are as big of Godzilla fans as I am. I've seen a bunch of the movies. I'm a pretty big fan. You know, I have a Pokemon channel. I have this Digimon channel. But like Godzilla is one of my few other media forms that I really have been a fan of for most of my life. So I'm actually really excited for this device, and I've heard so many good things about it. I've heard so many people say this is actually the best Digimon color device other than like the pendulum colors. And so let's just get right into this. So this is going to be a really cool device. Oh man, this thing looks great so far. Wow, that is some high quality craftsmanship on the printing. War Greymon. This is the War Greymon erosion mode in the back. I love this. This is actually nicer quality, I think, than even something. I've heard these been compared a lot to the Asmaria Digivices before. And yeah, this is like a color version, obviously, but the printing on like the Asmaria device is, I feel like I could scratch it off if I really had to, versus this one actually seems like a higher quality print. Seems like it's a little bit more stable. So like this was like the test run for this type of device, in my opinion. This and the Kenji Watanabe devices. I really think they nailed it in with this one. Wow, this looks really nice. So let's start this up and get right into it. Oh my gosh, listen to that. Oh, that's so perfect. It was hold the C button. That's how you turn this bad boy on here. We have the zoom in mode here, but man, this is just a nice looking Digivice. Holy moly, I really like that. Very cool. Perfect. So let's start this bad boy up. So let's set the time. The time is currently about, looks like about 12:58 in the PM. Ah, I messed it up. Ah, well, that's fine. That's about the time that I said it was going to be, about 1. Here we go. We're starting this bad boy up right now. This is going to be a Godzilla egg going into a Bodemon. We're going to turn that sound off for you guys. And the first thing we want to do is feed this guy. And like I said, this whole device, from what I've heard, is in Japanese. So this is going to be food, and this is going to be pills. So let's go into the food here. And it looks like it's a little gray color. That's actually really cool. Maybe it's like Godzilla cannibal food stuff like that. So let's give a couple pieces of food. Let's give a pill too. Let's see if it looks any different. It's a red pill. Okay. And yeah, let's see. So one thing about this device that I've heard a lot of people talk about is that they actually have like an album menu here. So this is your standard status. You know, you can see the weight, the mon that you're using, the hearts. This is for food. This is for like strength. This is for, I'm assuming, whatever meter you use. I think people are calling it the G meter right there. You can see it says G. And this is probably your like battle stamina. And this is your win rate. Cool. And so this is the album. So the only mon that we have right now is Bodemon. But you can see if we go into like the next, this would make us go to the next page. So this would be any evolutions we have. So you can actually keep track of everything you've earned on each of these devices. But if I press the B button, it shows the attack animation. This is very similar to what, you know, they do on, you know, let's plug in, let's show you guys something on this one. Like it's very similar to how they do on the Digimon X devices. So if I were to use my Alphamon here and go for the Excite mode, this is gonna be hard without the sound. I think I got it. I think I got the Excite, right? There it is. There's a little, you know, freeze frame movie mode, and you get like the super excellent mega hit, and it's actually really cool. So I think it's really cool that they included that. Every single mon on this device is gonna have that little split screen, you know, picture. I think that's going to be great. Very, very excited for that. The next thing I want to actually talk about is the mons that are going to be on this device. So taking a look at some of the mons on this device, you see we have the Bodamon, the Koromon, and then these are your 3 rookies, right? You have the default Agumon if you want to go for like just a Digimon version. You can go even for Monodramon, which is actually super cool. This is a really good mon in Digimon Time Stranger right now. And then you also have access to like baby Godzilla. Like I was talking about, there's a bunch of different Godzilla mons and monsters from so many different movies, the Heisei era, the Showa era, the Millennium era, so many different mons. There's not that many new ones. It's a lot of the older ones. Let's take a look at some of the champions on this device. So some of the champions, you have like the War Greymon, you have access to, I think that's going to be, yeah, it's going to be Little Godzilla. Look how derpy it is. I thought this was going to be like Godzuki basically from what we knew, but it's really cool to see that. This is Biolante, I believe. Yeah, Biolante, that's so rad. So, like, if you're a fan of, like, Godzilla, I guess, media, the movies and stuff like that, this might be the perfect Digivice for you because this actually should be playing more like a Godzilla device than a Digimon device. There's going to have the Godzillasaurus. This is just one of the older ones and stuff like that. A lot of the older Godzilla here. And I really thought this was going to be one of the Godzilla monsters whose name is escaping me right now, but it's actually just Raremon. I wonder why it's actually kept as Raremon. That's kind of weird, but you know, Raremon is kind of on point with this. You have Gigan right here. You have really, really cool stuff. Other than that, you have like, you know, they turned Flymon into like Mothra. Mothra is really cool to see, one of my absolute favorites. Can't wait to get Mothra. And then you have things like, you know, King Ghidorah. This is one of the mons in like the 2014 remakes, King of the Monsters. You have Rodon as well. This was another one in one of the newer movies and the remakes and stuff like that. So it's cool to see them like use a bunch of the fan favorites. You even have access to like Chibi Godzilla, which I think this was a relatively newer one. This guy already needs something. Man, so needy. Let's give you a couple more pills so I can keep talking about the mons that are on this device. You also have access to, let's go into like the ultimates. You have, you know, the Fire Rodon and stuff like that. So you have so many different like popular mons. You have like Mecha King Ghidorah right here. Going up, you have like Mecha Godzilla. I think this might be just Zilla. Yeah, Zilla. I actually really like this movie. I think I've talked about this. I really, really liked the American Godzilla. I thought this was a fun movie with Matthew Broderick. Really, really cool stuff. And then this is where we start to see like exclusive Digimon to this device. This is going to be a fusion of like Digimon corrupted with the G erosion cells. This is going to be a Skull Greymon, but like a Godzilla variant. I cannot wait to train this guy. This is going to be a pretty cool Halloween Digimon for me for a couple videos, I think. And then from there, you know, you have like base form. This is Godzilla 1954. You have access to like just standard War Greymon. And then I think this is going to be like a War Greymon. It's Metal Greymon Vaccine. Is there? Sorry, I was talking War Greymon. It's Metal Greymon Erosion Mode. So this is another fusion mon. I think they could have made this look a little cooler. It looks almost exactly the same. It's hard to tell them apart other than the purple wings. Then you also have up here at the very top, you have Godzilla Jr. And then going into some of the more popular like megas in this, you have the standard Godzilla. Godzilla 1994, this is what most people think of when they think of Godzilla. After that, you have the mon that's on the Digivice. You have the War Greymon G-Erosion mode, very, very cool to see. And if we keep scrolling down, you have standard War Greymon. You turn like the Devimon sprite into Destroya. And, you know, we have other forms of Godzilla. And the last like fusion mons we have are Mugendramon, you know, erosion mode. This is basically a Machine Dramon fuse. I cannot wait for this. This is one of my absolute favorite mons in general, Machine Dramon. Very, very excited to see this one. And then I also really like that they included Mecha Godzilla. I really think this is cool. And the last mon that you could get if you actually do everything right is Burning Godzilla. Very, very cool to see. This is one of Godzilla's strongest forms and one of the strongest mons in this, you know, little device here as well. Very, very excited to actually play out this device. Now, a lot of people might know this already, but this whole device is actually from a failed crossover that happened a long time ago. They actually remade this for the version 5 on the actual, like, old, you know, the old original, like, V-Pets. There was a version 5 that had a bunch of Godzilla, you know, attempts to make Godzilla fusions. They reworked the Devimon sprite into what could be Destroya. They reworked the Tyrannomon sprite and the Greymon sprite and the Raremon sprite and the Mothra sprite. So that's why we're actually seeing all these actually come into play. You know, this sprite right here for King Ghidorah was really originally Deltamon. So it's actually really cool that this device has finally come out. I have a full video going over what those devices crossovers were, and then my attempt to like finish out a version 5 complete before this device came out. That's going to be on my channel somewhere. But getting back into the main device, I think that I'm very, very, very excited for this. Let's see. What do you need here? You're already hungry. This guy is like crazy monster beast out here. Let's go zoom in just a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. So let's clean up the poop. So this is a standard Digivice so far. You know, I think that, you know, you clean up the poop, you feed it, you can do some battles. Let's actually check out what the battle mode looks like right now. So the battle mode looks like, oh, I got hit. Oh man, so it looks like you gotta not get hit. I thought it was gonna be a spam mode. This is my first time doing it. Looks like you gotta stop the little Gigan, you know, bomb shoots before they get to you. There we go. Okay. I wonder what the patterns are. So this is actually really cool. It's very similar to how training worked on, or battles used to work. Oh, now we do spam, right? Yeah, okay. Oh, that's actually a lot more buttons than I thought I'd have to press. This reworks all of it into it. That is so freaking cool. Wow, that is so much more interactive. I wonder if it's the same pattern every time or if it's a slightly different pattern. Let's actually find out. Here we go. Another thing I've heard about this device is that like evolution and other things, you might get like a song. Okay. This is so cool. That's a different pattern. Oh, that's rad. Okay, let's go. Huh, it's weird. It's not as receptive as I would like. My one gripe so far is it's not as receptive as like some of these other devices. I feel like, you know, the OG, like version 20th. Oh, Digivolve. Here we go. So we got Koromon already. So Koromon is up. If we go to our little album here, we can go to Koromon, and that's what Koromon's like attack looks like if it were to use like a super special awesome attack. I love that sprite work. Very, very cool. This is back to the 16-bit sprites that like these devices are kind of known for. If we were to compare this, you know, it's very similar to what the, you know, version 20th and other devices kind of look like. This is Tokomon on the right for my version 20th. And this is going to be Koromon on the left. One thing about this device is that it is, again, USB chargeable. This is backlit. Very, very cool, updated. These things usually have about a week charge. Not a week like it's bad. Like it lasts like 6 or 7 days on one charge. Then you just charge it for a little bit and it's good to go. Let's see if we can do... can we change anything by pressing C? Can we change our backgrounds? This is all going to be in Japanese. So these are our default... looks like we only come with 2 backgrounds so far, but basically by playing battles, you should be able to unlock more. That's going to be back over here in that area. Let's see if we can unlock anything else. There's probably like sound and brightness settings here. So this is going to be brightness. Nice. I'll set that brightness to max so I can just max and relax with that brightness. And the last one here is going to probably be sound, which I have it set to none. You can set it to low sound, high sound. Let's set it to regular medium sound, and let's see, Koromon probably wants a couple things to eat. That's so cool. All right. Oh, bottom again. All right, here we go. I'm gonna try and max this one out and really pay attention to this. That's weird. It's not as receptive as I would have liked, but it works. Other things that we can do here is this device also has access to, this is going to be, I believe, like just put them to sleep, which is just sleep. So you do this if like your timer goes like 9 or 10 p.m., you can just put them to sleep. You can also, after you clean up this right here, value, what you can also do most likely is, this is probably going to be cold storage. So cold storage here and then like swap would be my guess. So that's cold storage. And what you can do with cold storage, what's really cool about it is unlike the version 20th, which doesn't have those options, you know, you basically have to babysit this thing 24/7. You can put this guy on cold storage, just leave this device, do anything you want with it, come back to it in a year, just throw a charge on this thing, reboot it up, and your Digimon is safe. It's going to completely pause your Digimon, so it lets you get to like the, you know, end game of the device and kind of just sit there on cold storage and save the mons and bank them. There is also a backup feature, which I think is the second part of that cold storage, which would let you, you know, basically start a new egg or back up into a different mon on your device. That being said, we're just going to open up our Koromon right here. The last couple things are going to be like, obviously, healing right here is going to be pretty important. If you have to heal it after a battle, and it looks like we can't do the Colosseum yet. You need to be at least rookie. So the next thing I would be wanting to take a look at here is how to digivolve into the right forms. I have not done a ton of research into exactly what it takes to digivolve yet, but that being said, I think we have the time to do that, right? So right now we have a Koromon. So let's take a look at what you need to do to get Koromon to go to the correct levels. So that being said, to get Baby Godzilla, you can hatch from a G-cell fragment, which I do not know what that is yet. You cannot hatch from a G-cell fragment, but get 0 to 1 care mistakes and 5+ blue G cells. That's going to probably be something. Let's check the status. So we get 5 or more of these little cells right here. We can get that one. And it looks like we have 1 G cell right now. Yeah, you can also not have from G cell or clear area 7 and get 2 care mistakes. So it's harder to get it if you've cleared deeper in like this device. Let's see, Agumon, not have from a G cell fragment, 0 to 1 care mistakes, 0 to 4 blue cells. So if you don't do anything, you will get Agumon, it looks like. And then Monodramon, you have to clear area 7 to basically unlock the Monodramon line. There's also like the time of day that these things can go to sleep. Sleep time's 8 p.m. That makes sense. Let's see what getting some of these other evolutions look like. And I know it's lame that I'm like using an iPad here to look at this, but this is just how it works for me. Like this is how I like doing all my Digivices stuff. It works for me. Let me know if you guys do the same thing here. Godzillasaurus is, it's all about the G cells, huh? So we gotta do a lot of training. So G cells are basically, if we were to just get back into this device here, an expanded upon version of effort. They're just an expanded upon version of effort. Looks like you can bank a lot more. One thing that I didn't really like about effort, and effort is gonna be this right here. If we go into this device, you can see hungry, strength, effort. Effort doesn't really do anything past like the rookie stage and a lot of these other devices. You know, you don't really need to grind in the training mode, but it looks like you actually need to unlock a lot of training modes. That's why they made the training mode so much fun with this one. They made the little mini game a little bit more interactive. And so it's cool that they actually did this. Gives you a reason to go into training mode. I really like that there's a little bit more to this mini game here. I just wish this button had a little bit more response. Not really liking it feels like it's a little hollow. Maybe I have a bad device. It's definitely possible. I've had bad devices before. I'll have to try the white one and see if it's the same. Let me know if it's the same on yours. But that should give us maybe an extra G cell. Yep, now we have 2 G cells, right? So we need to get a certain amount of G cells if we want to get Godzillasaurus, which is pretty cool. But like I was just talking about, I'm a big fan of Godzilla. I actually got this recently at like a little convention because I was waiting for the release of this device. I knew that I'd like to enjoy both of these things together. This is just a 3D printed Godzilla. But yeah, I've watched a bunch of the movies. I love the older movies. I think all the different like 80s Godzillas are probably my favorite. So this is a device I'm very much so excited to practice with and play with and add to my current repetition of devices. If there's anything you want to know about this device, I would say let me know in the comments. I'll do my very best to find the answer. But from what I've seen so far, this is probably one of my favorite color devices. There seems like there's a lot more to do on this device than there is on just a standard, color, like, the remake that they did on the version, the 20th version that got remade into color, right? Those that came out a few years ago. I think there's a lot more to do on this. I think I like the standard bricks colors more than something like a pendulum color. I'm not that big of a fan of pendulum color compared to some other people. And I do think there's a lot more in this device considering all the different lines you can go through, all the Digimon you can unlock compared to something like the Monster Hunter device that came out recently. So it seems like this is one of the coolest devices we've gotten in years. And I cannot wait to unlock every single Digimon on this thing, bring you guys along for the ride, and hopefully show you guys a bunch of the arena clears. So if that sounds like fun, maybe drop a sub on the channel. Let me know what you think about this device and if you have any questions. And other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, and I'll see you guys next time.